In 1881, Emily Fazakerley wanted to listen to an opera being performed in Denbigh, half a mile from her Welsh mansion. However, she insisted on enjoying it at home with invited dignitaries. What was her solution? I'll say it again. In 1881, Emily Fazakerley wanted to listen to an opera being performed in Denbigh, half a mile from her Welsh mansion. However, she insisted on enjoying it at home with invited dignitaries. What was her solution?
I think I got this. Surely.
Oh?
Is this Denbigh?
Denbigh in North Wales.
Yeah, that's full of valleys. That is full of valleys. What if it's that? It's not. Is it like where you put your iPhone in a glass to make it sound louder? Like if you put an opera in a valley, then you just hear it at your house.
Just in case that's right, I'm going to come in with a stupid suggestion first.
Go on.
1881 is, I think, too early for phonograph recordings to be a thing. It would have been sheet music. For a moment, like there's a story of I cannot remember how apocryphal this is, of Stalin writing to the Soviet broadcaster requesting a recording of the thing that he'd listened to, and it had not been recorded, so they brought back all the musicians and an audience to perform it again for Stalin's record. I'm not sure how true that is, but 1881, surely too early for that.
That is not what happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
If that's just the answer to your thing, yeah.
I'm going to rule another thing out because I feel like it's also too early for like a transmission via radio somehow. Like that feels like it was later than that. But
yeah,
I mean, who knows, right? A lot of these things are just completely not when you thought they were. Like, you know, people were faxing each other way before, I don't know, but not the 1880s. So I don't think it was by fax or radio.
So that brings us to Lizzie and the Valleys.
I'll be well impressed if that's right.
So, Lizzie, can you just describe what you're picturing here? That the opera was happening in a valley?
Picture this. I've been to Jodrell Bank for a good day out as a kid, and you can hear things because of the dish shapes. So
the listening dishes.
Yeah, so if you... And that's what the mountains are doing in my mind, or the valley.
To be clear, you're not doing that on, like, the actual Lovell telescope and the radio telescope. They've just got, like, two sound dishes in the kids' play area.
Yeah. It's like one side of the kids' play area, and it's a paraboloid, right? It's a quadratic curve spun round into a circle, and it sort of focuses things.
So you can whisper into a dish and be heard 50 metres away.
Oh, no, I was just picturing Lizzie just singing into the Jodrell telescopes, just bouncing back.
Just beaming it out into space.
Did anyone here not go to Jodrell Bank as a kid on a school trip or a visit or something?
Yeah, are we three Northerners?
I live
Lizzie?
upsettingly near Jodrell Bank, and I think I didn't go as a kid, but I have been multiple times as an adult to work. Yeah. Like they've literally just hired me to come and do talks.
They do still have the dishes outside in the kids' play area.
Oh no, I'm from Essex, but we had trips.
I think you just put on a good comedic Northern accent. I've been to Jodrell Bank.
Well, my parents are Northern, so.
Okay, there we go. Okay, listen, we're acting very relaxed as if you've got it, but actually, Lizzie, you're not right at all. So it's not about valleys, even though, or mountains.
And she didn't set up a giant listening ear telescope to pick up the sound from the opera house.
She did not set up not a giant listening ear telescope. No, that was not set up.
Just a big, what's it called? It's like a periscope where you have a mirror at the bottom and it's like looking at the thing happening in the concert theatre half a mile away.
I don't think that works with sound, does it? I think you just see it.
Yeah.
No, and half a mile away. There was a half a mile distance.
I'm going to rule the obvious thing out, which is that she just had a lot of money and a mansion, and she invited all the performers and the audience up and paid them, and just had it performed at her house. I'm gonna take like the QI klaxons on that one and just rule it out.
Yes, you're correct to rule it out. The opera was going on at the space where the opera was always going on, and Emily was in her mansion. Half a mile away.
Is the space where the opera was going on some kind of outdoor amphitheatre or an indoor venue?
As far as I know, it's not an outdoor amphitheatre. It's not about the venue itself.
Because I was going to say very long pipe.
Well, I was just going to say, can we rule out the telephone on a string? The can and then a string and then a can.
Yeah, I think you should go further with that idea, Lizzie.
Holy moly. Picture this. Denby, the home of crockery, right? Isn't that where you get a Denby dish from?
I don't
think
know.
that's a different Denby. That's spelled with a Y, right? Denby in Wales is IGH, right?
Picture this. A place similar to a place that makes crockery. a giant saucepan. And then a big long string.
A saucepan.
And then I don't know, I just assumed a saucepan.
Yeah.
And then a saucepan, but like fancier in the house. I mean, it's only half a mile. You can find a bit of string, surely.
Yeah, but can on a string doesn't work on that distance because you've got to keep the string really taut. Like the minute it's starting to sag under its own weight or blow in the wind, the whole thing falls apart.
I'm really enjoying how you're debunking that scientifically, as though there's any even remote chance.
This is lateral. Someone set up the 1881 equivalent of a zip wire and used it to listen. I'm not ruling that out, you know. But no, a half-mile string like that, you'd have it sagging under its own weight. It'd be a catenary, not a straight line.
Yeah, saggy string wouldn't work. Okay, there was a lot of talk near the beginning about what was and wasn't invented at the time. Mm-hmm. There was a reason why what Lizzie said, I was like, ooh, there's something in that. So what do we think?
Oh my God, what a telephone call, was it? It wasn't literally an iPhone in a glass in that she was like, ring, ring, it's for you. Ba, 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 ba. No, I don't know.
The telephone wasn't common in 1881.
Okay, it wasn't common, Tom, no.
Yeah, but she's loaded.
Is that the first telephone call in Wales?
Well, there's a key thing that you're just like, you need to kind of like reach. So, okay, the telephone was around, but it had only been patented by Alexander Graham Bell 5 years before, right? So that, obviously you can't just have a telephones around willy-nilly. So there's something key that this person, that Emily Fazakerley, did.
And she run a cable from her house to the opera just to run this one.
She ran lots of cables. She installed a phone just to call the opera house.
Exactly right.
Wow.
Emily Fazakerley installed a phone line from the opera house to her house, and then remember, she invited her dignitaries. So at the end, she had lots of different ear tubes that all of her friends separately were listening to the opera live happening at the opera house.
Wow. I'm imagining that, and in my head it's like a silent disco.
I was just thinking that. It's Jungle Bank's silent disco. Everyone listening to their little tubes.
Yeah. And then they switched to the other one, and then everyone else was out of sync. One of them was listening to Beethoven, and the other ones were on their Tchaikovsky or whatever. So yeah, basically this was 1881, right? It was ages before public broadcasts were a thing. And I loved this question, by the way. It felt like it was made for me because Emily Fazakerley was born in Anglesey, which is where I've always been on holidays. But then she moved to Chorley, which is where I'm actually from. Anyway, what an icon. But because she didn't want to have to travel, that's one for the Chorley listeners out there. But because she didn't want to travel, she used her money to commission her own dedicated telephone line directly from the hall to her mansion. And it was the first phone to be installed in North Wales, just 5 years after Alexander Graham Bell had patented the telephone. And it was interesting because there was a big legal dispute going on at the time between the post office and the Bell Telephone Company about whether, because the post office had monopoly on telegraphs, but then Alexander come along and come up with this phone thing. So there was a big argument about if they were different or not. And Emily was just like, I'm going to ignore that and just get my own one installed. So yeah, Emily Fazakerley, what a legend.
The Lateral book is out now. Just click on the link to get your copy.